Every morning, Princess Seraphina woke up in a golden palace. Every morning, she asked the same question, who am I? And every morning, no one could answer her. Not because they didn't know, but because if they told her, she would disappear forever. In a kingdom surrounded by silver mountains, there was a princess named Seraphina, the most beautiful girl in all the land. She had golden hair that shone like the sun, eyes as blue as a midsummer sky, and a laugh that made flowers bloom. But Seraphina carried a terrible curse. Every night, when the last star appeared in the sky, she fell into a deep, magical sleep. And every morning when she woke up, she had forgotten one memory. It started small. She forgot the name of her favorite flower. Then she forgot the color of her mother's dress. Then she forgot how to bake bread. The people of the palace whispered to each other with frightened eyes. The royal healer shook his head in silence. But the most terrifying part, no one was allowed to tell her. Because the old witch who had cast the curse had left one final warning. If the princess ever learns the truth of her curse before true love speaks her full name, she will vanish from this world like morning mist. Forever. So every morning, the servants smiled. The king pretended nothing was wrong. And Seraphina woke up with a smaller and smaller heart, confused, but trusting. One rainy autumn morning, a young traveler named Callum arrived at the palace gates. He was not a prince. He was not rich. He carried only a worn leather bag and a letter from his dying mother that said, "Find the princess of the Silver Mountains. Tell her the truth. Only you can save her, Mama." Callum had no idea what this meant. But he had promised his mother. And so he knocked on the gate. The guards laughed at him. A poor traveler, wanting to see the princess. They turned him away. But as Callum walked back down the mountain road, he heard singing. It was coming from a small garden on the side of the palace wall. And when he looked through the iron fence, he saw her, Seraphina, sitting alone, braiding flowers into a crown, singing a song so sad it made the birds stop flying. She looked up and saw him. "Why are you crying?" she asked. Callum touched his face. He hadn't even realized. "I'm not sure," he said honestly. Seraphina tilted her head. "I cry sometimes too," she said softly. "And I'm not sure why either." They looked at each other through the iron fence for a long moment. Something strange and warm passed between them, the kind of feeling that has no name, but that everyone knows. "What's your name?" she asked. "Callum," he said. "What's yours?" And Seraphina paused. Her fingers stopped moving in the flowers. Her blue eyes went very still. She whispered. I used to know." Callum did not leave the mountain. He slept under a tree by the palace gates. The next morning, he was still there. The morning after that, still there. The guards brought him food eventually, if only to stop feeling guilty. Seraphina began visiting the garden fence every day. They talked through the iron bars like old friends. She told him about the golden halls and the silent servants. He told her about his village, about his mother, about the stars he could name because she had taught him. Every day, Seraphina seemed a little more faded, like a painting left in the rain. One evening, Callum asked her, "What do you remember most clearly?" She thought for a very long time. Then she said, "A red door, and a woman singing me to sleep. And feeling safe." Callum's heart stopped. His mother had described a red door. His mother had sung him to sleep with that same melody. His mother, a simple woman from a mountain village, had once worked in a royal palace. Long, long ago, before she was sent away. That woman, that singing, that red door, it was his mother. His mother had known Seraphina as a baby. His mother had loved her like a daughter. And somehow, his mother had known that this boy, this ordinary boy with worn boots and no title, was the only person whose voice could break the curse. That night, Callum finally read the full letter his mother had left him. He had been afraid to. Now he read every word. "My dear Callum, the princess was cursed by the witch Morava, the woman I refused to help steal the princess's magic years ago. She cursed the child out of revenge. But Morava made one mistake. She said, true love must speak her full name. She thought no prince would ever care enough to try. She forgot about you. A boy who doesn't know what love looks like from the outside, only from the inside." Seraphina's full name, her true name, the one hidden even from herself, is written in the book her mother left behind. It is not Seraphina. That was only a gift name. Her true name is one word. You must find it. And when she is near forgetting everything, her name, her face, her own breath, you must say it to her. Not as a prince, just as yourself. "I love you, son." Callum had one night. Because the next morning when Seraphina had woken up, she had forgotten Callum's face. She had smiled at him through the fence, confused and polite, like a stranger. He had one night to find the hidden book before she forgot everything. Callum broke into the palace. Not through the gate, through a window he had spotted in the garden, always left open because Seraphina liked the moonlight. The palace at night was like a held breath. Candles burned low, shadows moved. He crept through the golden halls, following the instinct of a boy who trusted his mother's words more than any map. He found the queen's old bedroom. He found the shelf behind the mirror. He found the small, cracked book with no title, just a pressed flower on the cover. A flower Seraphina had braided into crowns every single day. She had been reaching for her own name without knowing it. He opened the book. On the first page, in faded ink, it said, "To my daughter, born under the morning star, whose true name is the first word I ever said to her." And on the next line, one word. Just one word. Callum stared at it. His hands were shaking. His eyes were burning. He ran. He reached the garden just as the sun began to rise. Seraphina was there. She sat in the grass, holding a flower crown, but her hands were still. Her eyes were open, but empty. Like a sky with no clouds and no sun. Just blue. Just nothing. She was forgetting herself. He could see it happening, like watching a candle go out. "Seraphina," he called. She turned, looked at him with polite confusion. "Do I know you?" "Yes," he said, breathless, dropping to his knees in front of her. "You do. You talk to me every day. You told me about the red door. You made flower crowns. You asked me why I was crying and I didn't know why." Something flickered in her eyes. A tiny flame. "I don't remember," she whispered. "You don't have to remember me," Callum said. "But you have to hear your name. Your real name. The one that belongs to you, not to the curse." He took her hands. They were cold. He looked into those blue eyes that were going grey like an autumn morning. And he said the word. Her true name. The effect was not loud. It was not lightning or fire or shaking earth. It was simply a long exhale. Like someone who had been holding their breath for years, finally, letting go. Color came back to her eyes. Blue, deep and real and alive. She looked at Callum, and she recognized him. "You," she breathed. "Me," he said, and he smiled so hard his face hurt. "You found my name," she said. "Not a question, just wonder. Your mother left it for you," he said. "My mother led me to it." Seraphina looked down at the flower crown in her hands. Then she placed it carefully on Callum's head. "I think," she said slowly, "that this kingdom needs a new kind of king. One without a title, one who came here for no reason except that his mother asked him to." "I'm not very qualified," Callum said. "Good," said Seraphina. "Neither am I. We'll figure it out together." The curse of Morava never returned. Some say it was broken by love. Some say it was broken by courage. Some say it was broken by a simple boy who kept his promise to his mother. But Seraphina knew the truth. It was broken by someone who looked at her, not at her crown, not at her beauty, not at her title, and saw a girl sitting alone, braiding flowers, singing a sad song. And decided to stay. Clap aboard the end.